Hey guys, Master Ninken here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so with the upcoming 350 million download celebration confirmed as the Planet Namek Saga, one of the big questions on everybody's mind is which units will get an EZA during this celebration. Now the V-Jump leaks hinted at the Ginyu Force EZA. Now, we don't know if this necessarily is just the LR, just one of the LRs maybe, hopefully both. Hopefully, ideally, it's both the LRs and the entire full free-to-play Ginyu Force team. As far as I know at the time of recording, that is not 100% confirmed. It's still kind of just speculation at the moment. Either way, that will be pretty good. It'll be interesting to see how they do that. But just by looking at it here, like, this is the Planet Namek Saga category. Now, we don't really need to worry about the SSRs so much, but like, the pool of units is quite small. So obviously we're going to have the Dual Dokkan Fest, there's going to be the side banner units, I'm sure there'll be a story event or two that might bring some free-to-play units, but this category definitely needs a lot of advancement, and some EZAs are definitely the way to go to help out this category. So, celebrations are often measured by EZAs because, you know, at the end of the day, whether a celebration was good or not, largely resolves around the content and not necessarily just the two units released being good, because we saw this with last year's worldwide celebration. Str Goku and Vegeta and the Bootanks, arguably still two of the like top tier units in the game, but the celebration itself was considered a little bit on the weak side because there wasn't a huge amount of content. They made the strange choice to drop a lot of content during the countdown celebration, so it'll be interesting to see if they do that this year instead. But I just wanted to talk about the units that I think are most likely to EZA. We won't go into a huge amount of detail about what I think that they will do, although I might give a suggestion here and there. So some definitely are more likely than others, but we will go ahead and see what eventually happens. So yeah, go ahead, smash like on the video if you enjoy it, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's jump right in. So first of all, the two that I think are the most likely are this physical Kaioken Goku and this STR Frieza. These guys released back when Transforming Goku and Frieza released, I believe. So they are quite old units now, almost 3 years old at the time that this download celebration will occur. So I think these two units are potentially the most likely. Obviously both versions of the game have the same name update now, so we don't really need to worry about, like, you know, this unit needs to get an EZA because no other Kaioken Gokus are good, for example. But even so, like, no other Kaioken Gokus. The AGL one has an EZA, but he's not, like, a top tier unit. This guy was always pretty good for dealing damage. He greatly raises attack on super. Attack and defense 80% is okay, I guess, for like a side banner unit back when he came out. Additional 20% attack with each attack received up to 120. So not bad, and fully built up he could put out some decent numbers, but obviously at level 140 SA15 with EZA stats, that's going to get a pretty solid increase. He definitely needs a little bit of a raise to his defense. If they wanted to go all out with his EZA and make him really, really good, he could gain attack and defense on each attack received, because then when he's fully built up, he would become a bit of a monster. And obviously his link set is pretty good. Non-Super Saiyan Gokus often don't get a look in on teams because largely when you're running Saiyan based teams, they're all Super Saiyans, so you want links like Super Saiyan Golden Warrior, etc. But he has a pretty solid link set. He's got all in the family, which is really good, and then obviously he has Kamehameha, Shocking Speed, Prepared for Battle, so his links are very good. And then this Frieza, when he came out, he was a little bit nutty as well, because first, you want to put him in the first slot so he gets hit. He gets a 100% attack boost within the same turn after receiving an attack. So nowadays, especially with the level of the endgame content that we have, he really needs to get a bigger increase of his defense. Honestly, I think they could even go ahead and give him like damage reduction. And then that would be a perfect unit to put in slot 1, have him get hit. Obviously just bump up his attack and defense maybe to 100 or 120, and then additional attack maybe 120 when receiving an attack. That together with 140 EZA stats. And then yeah, throw in some damage reduction maybe, and this unit would actually be crazy and would be a really good first slot unit. He doesn't really get a look in these days, but I think if they made him strong enough, even on teams like Transformation Boost, Wicked Bloodline, Terrifying Conquerors, all that kind of stuff where you're running other very powerful Wicked Bloodline units, if they made this guy a really solid slot 1 pick, then he would be super, super good. So next up we have this, the OG, the Rage Super Saiyan Goku. It took him a while to get his awakening, but even his awakening was over 3 years ago now. So this guy would be very good with an EZA. Obviously, he has no defense in his passive, so that's something that needs to be fixed immediately. Greatly raising attack on super is fine, and then he has the survives KO attacks when HP is 20% or above. I talked about this in the Dokkan YouTuber suggested celebration, because Tiger picked this guy, I believe it was Tiger, to get an EZA. And we talked about it there, where his survives KO attacks passive is kind of pointless, because if you think about something like the GT Legendary Goku event, where he's attacking you like 5 times in one slot, if he super attacks you as the first attack, so this guy's ability goes off and you don't die, you survive with 1 HP, well, you're then getting hit like 4 more times, so you die. So it would be very, very interesting. I don't know if Dokkan would ever do this, because they haven't really done this with an EZA in the past, where they've added a whole new mechanic. But it would be super interesting if they gave this guy an EZA and changed that ability into an actual revival skill. So if he's been hit a certain number of times, or if he's attacked a certain number of times, and then, yeah, you start the turn on, even if it is 20%, although I think that's a little bit too difficult to get, but start the turn on, say, 40%, 50% HP, and then when you get KO'd, he revives. Of course, that would include adding like a full revival animation and stuff, so I don't think that that's very likely. So if they were to EZA a unit with this mechanic, I think the best way to do this would be like survives KO attacks and recovers, let's say, like 30% HP or something, just so you're not like immediately killed by the following attack. But definitely would be cool. I think this guy has awesome art, so it's a shame that he's like a long forgotten unit. So an EZA for him would be really good. Next up we have the AGL Final Form Frieza. He's a newer unit, but I could definitely see him getting an EZA with a Namek celebration. He's super, super good for things like Super Battle Road, because obviously he is an AoE unit, does supreme damage to all enemies, has a medium chance to seal each of those enemies. And then when you are fighting against only one enemy, he gets an attack buff and has a high chance to stun, which is really good. And when there's multiple enemies, he gets extra ki and attack and defense. So he basically auto supers. The extra defense is obviously nice for things like Super Battle Road, World Tournament. I used to run him on the Transformation Boost, like Cooler Team World Tournament for a while. So he would be a very good unit, because obviously in the future we'll get like an extreme Super Battle Road stage for Wicked Bloodline, Transformation Boost, and so on and so forth. So he's going to be very good for those stages. He's good anyway, but with an EZA, he would become an absolute monster for those kind of events. So that would be very interesting. Next up we have Nail. So Nail getting an EZA I think would be quite good. Like, he's a fairly old unit. I mean, on Global he's obviously only been out for what, like a year and just over a year and a half when the download celebration hits. So he's not the oldest unit in the world, so I don't know if he's necessarily highest on the list to get an EZA, but I mean, he's realistically the only usable Nail in the game, and if this Namek celebration brings us any kind of new Piccolo or something like that, then obviously this guy getting an EZA would be great. The Namekians team is incredibly limited, so taking one of the few units on there that is really, really good and giving them an EZA to make them absolutely crazy would obviously be a really good step for that team. Like, he infinitely raises attack and defense, which is good. You kind of have to really run him alongside a Piccolo to get his full abilities, and then obviously he does get extra buffs against Wicked Bloodline enemies, so this guy could be very good with an EZA, although I think maybe it's a little bit too soon. Then we have a couple of wild card picks. So, Str Namek Goku. Now, obviously, the anniversary showed us that this isn't completely out of the realms of possibility, because they went ahead and EZA'd Int UI Goku as the first category leader EZA, when you could definitely argue that he didn't really need it. I would say, personally, this guy needs an EZA way more than Int UI Goku did. Now, obviously, he's the Super Saiyans and Planet Namek Saga category leader, so we've never seen them EZA a unit with this kind of leader skill before. because UI Goku had 150 across the board and went up to 160. So I could see this guy, if he gets an EZA, I imagine his leader skill would probably only change so that maybe HP went up to either 140 or 150, and then attack and defense stayed 170. But the thing with this guy is he's fairly solid. He's not crazy when he's untransformed, but he's pretty decent. So you could definitely use some buffs there. And then once he becomes a Super Saiyan, he infinitely stacks his defense, but not his attack. So if you've used him in events like the Legendary Goku event or the GT Legendary Goku event, because he is part of the Connected Hopes team, so you can do that mission with like a full Super Saiyans team. His defense gets really, really good, but his damage not so much. So with EZA stats, if they changed his post-transformation super to raise his attack and defense, by the end of long-form events, he would be absolutely crazy. And then, of course, he has his Rage mode that can be activated when HP is 50% or less. These sort of Rage mode things in harder difficulties of events like the GT Legendary Goku event, they're not really that great. They don't do crazy amounts of damage, so it'd be interesting to see if he did get an EZA, them giving this sort of ability a massive buff, because you don't get to see it all that often, and when you use it, it's for one turn, and then that's it for the whole event, right? So I don't see any reason why they couldn't make that, you know, a really busted, super powerful turn, since it only occurs once. And especially because it is like this representation of Goku, the first transformation into Super Saiyan, beating down Frieza, so just make it crazy, crazy powerful for that one turn. And then the other sort of wildcard pick is the LR Full Power Frieza. We've obviously seen that summonable LR EZAs are now very much a thing, and they're often kept in fitting with the theme of a celebration. So this guy getting an EZA would be really good. I was never super impressed with this guy when he first came out, and then when I finally actually used him a few times, he's definitely better than I originally thought that he was. I'm not a huge fan of sacrificing HP on super attack, but that's not the end of the world. And then he's very much geared his passive around you being on low HP to make him better, but he doesn't have like crazy defense to then be a good unit to survive when you're on super low HP. So I think with an EZA, they could definitely make this a really, really powerful, really desirable card. And obviously because he's an older unit, he's just kind of buried away in the unfeatured pool on LR banners now. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people still don't even have him. And because he's not like a top tier unit, he's probably not high on the list of units you'd want to buy with yellow coins. Whereas obviously if he gets an EZA, that means he will also get a legendary summon banner, and then it gives people a chance to maybe pick him up again. Even though, you know, if that does happen, you probably don't want to summon on that banner unless you've already pulled both the Dokkan Fest exclusive LRs, but that's an entirely different subject. But him getting an EZA would definitely be very, very good. And then the last two that people have suggested, even though they're technically not Namek Saga, is the Transforming Goku and the Transforming Frieza, whose page I apparently didn't open. There we go. So these two came out together as a dual Dokkan Fest. As horrible as it is to imagine, they are probably going to be on the Goku and Frieza banners if the dual Dokkan Fest is Goku and Frieza, which it seems most likely if it's Planet Namek Saga that it's going to be, but we still don't know that yet at the time that I'm recording this video. So these two are probably going to end up being on the banners, which is unfortunate for people that have been playing the game for a while. But if they were to then get an EZA as part of the celebration, it kind of lessens the impact of how bad it is having them on the banners. Because if you're somebody like me that's had them rainbowed for ages, but they're getting an EZA in the celebration, then if you pull a bunch of extra copies while you're summoning for the LR, you can obviously awaken them and use them as free SA fodder once you've done the EZA. Basically like the anniversary, I pulled a few extra copies of Int UI Goku, so I was able to feed them together, awaken them, and get him to SA 15 once he EZA'd. So that could be good. Like I said, they probably will be on the banners, which is unfortunate, so them getting an EZA kind of takes the sting out of that a little bit. So there you go. Those are the units that I think are most likely to get an EZA during this celebration. Looking at the other TURs, I don't know if there's any other ones necessarily. I don't think they're ready to start EZAing the 50% support units yet, although that would definitely be pretty hype. And then some of these other units have EZAs already or are confirmed already. So I think these ones are the most likely. Let me know down below what you think of these picks. Do you think any of them are the most likely? Do you think any of them are not so likely? And if you want to give me some ideas on what you think they would look like post EZA, let me know all of that down below in the comments section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.